Hello again. Are you ready for another card video? My name is Sherry Minnie. I'm right now residing in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. I will be here until the end of March, but I actually live in Colorado, in a small town called Kingsburg, about 45 minutes northeast of Denver. And I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and have been one for 15 years, although I've stamped a lot longer than that. So today's card is going to be featuring one of the bundles from the 26th January to April mini catalog. It's called Nature's Symphony, and it's got some nice sentiments, this big leafy pattern, a smaller one, and then a kind of a abstract design there, kind of like, I heard somebody call it road rash. I don't know, it kind of is different. And then it has, of course, the matching dies, and we are going to be using, let me pull it out here so I can show you what we are going to be using. We're going to be using two of these, actually. We'll be using the big leaf pattern, and then we're going to be using this smaller with the little dots. I'll put these away because I am famous for losing them, and there's nothing worse than losing a die. We'll also be using the product of the month that was actually last month. I do believe there's still some available. It's called Fabulous Sayings. It just has some great sentiments and greetings in it, and we're going to be using the happy birthday. And then for our circle in the front of the card, we will be using one of the circles. I think it's this one. Let me double check my measurement. Yeah, it's this one. So it's the fourth one from the smallest, and these are the stylish shape dies. So, and then we'll also be using some embellishments. These go along with this suite, and they're called the faux bronze pentagons, and we'll be using those. We'll be using two, let me get my dies out of the way here so we don't get all confused about what's going on, or I don't get confused. We're using two ink pads, Crumb Cake and Mossy Meadow. And the card is actually a bookfold card, one of my favorites. You cut it out, and then you score it twice and glue part of it down, and then you open it like a book. So let me show you what your packet contains. In addition to your envelope, you will have get rid of some of this. So we'll have either a Mossy Meadow. I ran out of Mossy Meadow. I didn't bring all of my papers down here to Arizona, so I switched to Garden Green, but it goes fine with the Designer Series paper. It's actually 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2, and scored at 4 1/4. And what happens is you fold this like a normal card, and then you fold this part back, and that's your card base. And I need to get a bit of a, hold on, let me see if I can find my bone folder so I can, ouch, just poked myself. That wasn't what I wanted to do. I'm not going to glue it together yet. We're going to do some work on the front before we glue it down. It's a little bit easier to do it that way. Okay. We will have a 4 by 4 piece of basic white for the inside. You'll have a 4 by 4 piece of Designer Series paper. This is called Nature Walk paper, and this is the greens, different on either side. You could use whichever side you want. You'll have a small piece of basic white to cut out your circle with, and when you get that cut out, you end up with this, and that's what we'll be stamping on. And you have a piece of crushed curry that you'll be cutting your, you'll be cutting out your leaf, and then you'll cut off, I didn't cut off this piece, but you'll cut off 1 inch, and this will go here. And when you get that done, then you have your leaves. And I've actually put adhesive sheet on the back of it to make it a little easier to put down. And then here's the 1 inch by 4 with where I took this and ran it through and did that little treatment for the front. So to start off with, we're going to, as we usually do, get all of our stamping done. And we will, I'm going to need a scratch paper here. We're going to take our crumb cake first. And we're going to take our little small leaf design, and for the little circle, what we're going to do is we're going to do second generation stamping, which most of you probably know. You ink it up, and then you stamp off, and then you stamp, and that is what they call second generation. So you get a much lighter image, and that's what I want, because we're going to put our saying over the middle of that. I'm going to stamp our envelope, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the same stamp. I'm going to stamp it once, full strength, tilt it a little bit, and stamp it twice to give you kind of a, what would you call it, shadowy effect. And then for the inside piece, I'm going to do kind of the same thing. I'm going to ink it. I'm going to stamp it full strength, turn it a little bit, and stamp it again. Okay? And I believe that is all we have for the crumb cake. I'll put that to the side. And then for the, let me see, did I do Mossy Meadow on the inside? I believe I did. Let me see. Yes, I did. So what we're going to do for the inside, we're going to actually do two stamps. The one to a great guy comes from this bundle right here, which is always nice to have stamps for guys. I struggle sometimes making a masculine card. So I'm choosing to make this into a birthday card. So I'm going to use the happy birthday from the product of the month last month stamp, and then right below it we'll stamp the to a great guy. So try to get this as straight as I can. Again, I'm using my little foam pad since now we're all photopolymer, and we're just going to stamp this to the best of our ability. And then right below it, we're going to stamp to a great guy. Okay, it could be a little straighter, but I think it's fine. And then on our circle, we still have one more to stamp. We are going to stamp You Make Me Smile, and again, shouldn't have closed up the Mossy Meadow. We're going to use the Mossy Meadow. The nice thing about a circle, even if I stamp it crooked, I can just twist my circle and make it look straight. And that's all there is to that. And I do believe that's it for our stamping. We will be putting some dimensionals on the back of this. This is the only thing I'm popping up. And so I'll put, this sheet is almost out, but I do use every bit, including the sides. But we got enough for that, so I'll set that to the side. We'll take our tape runner, and we're going to put a little bit of adhesive. I've got something on that. And this, actually, before I glue that down so I can get it in somewhat straight, we're going to do our little side treatment. So this is the piece that we're going to put right here on the side with a border around it. And I'm actually hopefully going to use my liquid glue. You can use your tape runner. It does work. I actually had an opportunity to teach this card to a couple ladies here in the park in the community building here in Havasu where I'm staying. And so we used mostly our tape runner, but you know me, I'm pretty much a liquid glue gal, even though most people aren't. I like the extra wiggle room that I sometimes have because sometimes I have a hard time getting things straight. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our, and again, I'm going to use my liquid glue, but you could take your taper, and we're just going to put glue on this, and then we're going to glue it down so we get our kind of our, what they call the book fold. And hopefully I'm staying in camera so you all can see what I'm doing. And then we're just going to fold that down, give it a good burnish. Okay, and now we can take our piece of designer series paper and we can put it down on the front. And it doesn't really matter. There's not a really direct pattern on this or one-way pattern, so you can put it however you wish. And again, you have a bit of a border. And then I will take the inside piece that I've already put adhesive on, and we will put that on the inside. Okay. Then we're going to take our leaf piece, and it is a little bit fragile, and probably getting the sticky tape paper off is probably the hardest part of the whole thing. And then getting it on. Now on this one you'll see I made a bit of a mistake. I got my leaf too far over, so when I open the card it bends the leaf. You want to make sure that you put your leaf on this side of the fold. So I'll try that to do that. I haven't been very successful in doing that. I guess it's a little bit hard to get this because it is so fine and kind of floppy. I have a hard time getting it down where I want it. So you have to be gentle when you take the tape or the backing off the sticky tape because it is so fragile and you don't really want to tear it, although we can put it back together and hardly anybody could tell. But I prefer not to do that if I don't have to. And then of course, because it has sticky on it, it sticks to your fingers. So then I'm going to try this side and take this one off. And sometimes they come right off and sometimes they want to be stubborn. So like I say, this is the most fiddly part of the whole card. It's a pretty quick card, doesn't take long, and the dies cut, even with the sticky sheet on it, they cut out really very I only ran it through, I think I ran it through forwards and then backwards on my Big Shot or my Stampin' Cut machine, and it did just fine. So I'm going to put this way up here so that maybe I can keep this one from getting on the fold, although I'm not guaranteeing anything. And I think I accomplished it with this one. Barely. And this one, I want this. And as long as you don't rub it down, you can kind of move it, finagle it a little bit. Okay? So there's that. Then we will take our circle that we've already put the dimensionals on. We'll take the backing off of those. And we will put this on the front. You can put this wherever you wish. I like a lot of my leaf to show, so I kind of move it around. I think on this one I'm actually gonna put it over here on this corner. Okay, and then all we have left to do is take our embellishments, and these kind of look like a little house to me. I don't know, they're supposed to be hexagons, I guess, but I do kind of try to put them on with the point up to make it look a little bit straight. And so I'm going to put one on here, and there are two sizes, and I'm going to put one of the small ones up here and another one over here. Again, I don't want it straight across. I like to keep them different angles so we have our nice triangle. And guess what? That's all there is to it. quick and easy. Still a nice masculine birthday card. Or if you wanted to make it into something else, you could just leave the happy birthday off and put to a great guy. And like one of the ladies in the class yesterday are actually going to use it for the Valentine card. So there you go, everybody. As always, I thank you so much for taking time to watch this. If there's anything you might be interested in purchasing and you want to check it out, you can go to my online store at sherryminnie.stampinup.net. The dimensions and everything with this blog will hopefully be posted this afternoon, and that's simplylovestampin.com. So again, thank you for taking the time to watch this, whether you do it in the evening or in the daytime. I greatly appreciate every view that I get. It does help my channel, my very small channel, but I'm appreciative of every view that I do get. May God bless each and every one of you, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.